Hey everybody, it's Michael, and before we start today's special Halloween L-Files episode, guess what? We have some Patreon shout-outs. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
This show is not possible without listeners like you and your support. So I want to thank everybody who has joined us over at Bigfoot Collectors Club, The Other Side on patreon.com. Our most recent converts include Bailey Egan, thank you. Will Cadra, thank you. Bob Yee, thank you. James Wyatt,
Thank you.
Carlos Mejia,
Thank you.
Alexandra,
Thank you,
Joseph-
Alexandra.
Joseph Kuntz,
Thank you.
Rachel L.,
Thank you.
Christy Hicks,
Thank you.
Carolyn Chow upgraded to $5 a month.
Yeah, Carolyn.
She's unlocking all those bonus episodes.
You go, girl.
Kimberly Castaneda,
Thank you.
our very own Bryce Johnson
Hey, that's
joined the
me.
Patreon.
Thank you, Bryce. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. That's right. We're not
Awesome.
only the president of Bigfoot Collectors
Yeah.
Club, The Other Side,
Yeah.
we're also members.
That's how much I believe in this company.
That's right. Casey Stewart,
Thank you.
Katie A.,
Thank you.
Cassandra White.
Thank you.
I hope I don't screw this up. Sion Gunson.
Thank you.
Barbara Perry.
Thank you.
Jen Connolly.
Thank you.
Tyler Bentz.
Wow, there's so many. Thank you,
I
Tyler.
know, seriously. Neophase, son of Blaine's Las Casio.
Best name of all. Thank you.
Probably a fellow supporter on page or a creator on Patreon. Maybe
Awesome.
check them out. I don't know who
Awesome.
they are. Allison D.
Thank you.
And finally, Hannah Gray.
You rock, Hannah.
That's everyone who has joined since our last L-Files episode.
Dude, that's insane.
I know, it's crazy. You guys are so rad. Over on the other side, we have over 70 bonus episodes and minisodes
Yeah.
for your enjoyment. So head over to patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub today and experience everything that we have to offer.
Which is a lot. It's almost like double what we have for free on all
almost.
available podcast.
That's what I'm saying, guys.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of shit over there.
Got a lot of
Go
stuff.
check it out. Support the show. Feel good about it. It costs you $5 a month to unlock all those bonus episodes.
Yep.
That's what?
That's like a price of a almond spiced pumpkin latte.
That's
Half
right.
sweet.
Half sweet.
That's right. And you know, we're all sweet. Because over on Bigfoot Collectors Club, The Other Side, when you give us $5 a month and support the show, unlock those reward episodes, we say kisses.
Mwah, mwah.
And now it's on to today's show.
It's Bigfoot Collectors Club with Bryce and Michael. I know a ghost story or two. Let's do this.
Oh,
yeah.
Guys.
Pumps me up every
Oh,
time.
yeah. So pumped. And I love that spooky Halloween version that Riley has been dropping all month long. That's right, everybody. Welcome back to Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness. I am your ghost, Michael McMillan. With me always is your other ghost,
Bryce Johnson.
and our supernatural
Wow. All right.
producer.
I was wondering if you're going to land that, Riley Bray.
Wow.
Guys, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
And happy 2-year anniversary
Jeez.
to the old clubhouse.
Wow.
Bigfoot Collectors Club. That's right. 2 years ago, on
that's
October
insane.
31st, which is tomorrow,
Yeah.
Bryce Johnson, Michael McMillan released their very first episode of Bigfoot Collectors Club, Episode 0, Origins,
Yep.
where we told our personal paranormal histories involving an alien at the window, in my case, and a red glowing devil at the window,
Yeah.
your case. Both of us also synchronicity. We've never talked about it. The fact that both of our things were at windows.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that creepy?
Even my ghost story about Lois Grunow at Interlochen
Through a
Arts
window.
Academy in a window.
Yeah, man. Windows are portals.
So we didn't know. We didn't know if we were gonna like be able to keep this shit going.
No.
We didn't even have the Clubhouse or Supernatural producer Riley Bray yet.
No.
We found him through another act of synchronicity.
I'll cut the surprise. We wouldn't have been able to keep it going. So,
You would have bailed so hard
oh
on
my
me,
God.
and I would have been so bummed, and then we would not be talking anymore.
And I would have just been sitting here alone.
I
know.
know, with all these great occult books on your shelf.
And we never would have met today's guest. Returning to the show,
Yep.
you know her, you love her. She's part of the Clubhouse.
That's right.
She's a music artist.
Fam, y'all.
She's fam. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, Ms. Grace Mitchell.
Yay!
Grace!
Boo. Hello.
I should
Ooh, I
say.
like that.
Should I say
Guest ghost, dude.
guest ghost?
Right.
Guest? No, because you're ghost
Oh.
guest.
Ghost
Oh, no, yeah,
guest.
ghost
How-
guest. Right.
House haunting guest. House guest? I don't know.
Yeah.
House goose.
She's a goose.
She's a
I'm a
goose.
goose. Half goose, half ghost.
Grace Mitchell would be Lacey. Come on, help me out. Laceration ditch.
What the fuck is going
I'm trying to come up with like a scary.
Oh my God.
scary
What about
name.
Grave Mitchell? There
Grave
you go.
Mitchell.
Grave
Duh.
Mitchell.
That's perfect. Grave.
Idiots.
Grave Ditchell. I like Grave Ditchell.
Laceration, Mitchell?
There was this one time
Grave
in,
Ditchell was
in
sitting
high
right
school
there.
where somebody tried to make Grace Bitchell a thing.
Oh,
and
you shut that
and I
down.
and I heard about it and I was like, and fucking shut that shit down. So
Oh,
yeah.
man.
No Grace Bitchell, but Grave Mitchell for Halloween, yes.
And of course, we have our resident Yeti here with us.
Yeah, Nova.
Nova.
What's Nova's
I remember
name?
when I was
He
in
looks
high
like a
school, I
ghost.
got coined Vanilla Bryce, and instead of fighting it, I just kind of let
Rolled
it
with
take
it.
over because
You and
I knew the Ice Ice Baby dance from start to finish, and,
I mean, that's
We
pretty good.
both
and I
know
let it roll.
that was like
They dug it.
the
They dug
best
it.
day of your life.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
coined
we
that.
all
dude.
know
We
that
all know.
you
He was
coined
like,
that.
have you guys heard people are calling
People
me
are calling
Vanilla
me
Bryce?
Vanilla Bryce. I shopped at Cross Colors, which is all this like hip hop
some Cross
flair,
Colors.
and I wore these like my first day in high school. I wore like these bib overalls that had like sayings on them, like tokens only, and just like, and I was like, wore one over to the side,
Oh my
and
God.
it was awesome. I was so rad,
That's
trying
yeah,
so
you
hard
were.
to
I
be
would
so
imagine
rad.
you were cool in high school, huh? Really?
No, I was.
see you as a
I
cool
was.
guy
I was
in
pretty
high
cool,
school.
but I think I was
bet
trying
you
so
pulled some
hard to
wool.
be cool. Pulled some wool.
Cool.
No, I didn't. I lost my virginity very late.
Okay.
How late?
To his wife, Dawn.
No,
Yeah.
no,
How
not
late?
that.
I'm
late.
sure
How
I'm the
late?
latest.
Oh no way! I was 19, dude.
Oof, I was
did
later
not
than
get
you.
laid
Whoa,
in
what a
high school.
nerd.
I know, totally.
I was college as
Damn.
well. I was.
Yeah.
I was of drinking age.
This probably
Wow.
explains
Yes.
a lot.
I was
I
terrified
was
of
11
intimacy.
years old. No, just kidding.
Jesus! Wow, this
Just
episode
kidding.
really is dark.
Never mind.
These
Yeah.
are the true things that haunt us every Halloween. The awkward teenage years
man.
of yesteryear. Guys, before we get on with today's show, it's been 2 years. I'm
Yeah.
so happy to have you all in my life. I'm so happy that we have our listeners out there that have been supporting the show. Thank you guys. It's been awesome. I'm so excited that we've come this far.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any favorite, I'm putting you a little bit on the spot, do you have any favorite podcast memories? Grace has been there for a lot of them, so I
Yeah.
thought that maybe this would be a good opportunity to ask.
Oh man.
Are you asking me?
Sure,
So,
yeah, anyone
I
jump
mean,
in.
I gotta say, like, first thing that comes to mind is all of our movie nights, which
Yes.
are
Oh,
available
yeah.
on the Patreon.
We got to
Go
get
take a
back to
listen.
those. We have not done one in a
Man,
while.
are those so fun? I kind of wish it would be great if one day, like in my dreams, we could, like, I don't know, invite a bunch of guests or something and do a huge one, because it is
like a
so
cinema
fun.
night.
Yeah, like a cinema night. What if we it became this huge thing and we rented out a theater?
That
I don't
would
know.
be fun.
That
like
would be a
little
blast.
outdoor inflatable
An angel
projection.
investor bought us a theater.
If we get really-
BCC,
Guys, if you
personal
get-
theater.
If
if
you're
you
listening.
get
Right.
us huge, If you
Right.
spread word about the show, we could start hosting Bigfoot movie nights at
Oh my
Alamo
God.
Draft House.
Yeah, they're fun.
Around the country. Come on, guys.
Yeah,
All it
do
takes-
a tour. Oh my God, movie night tour.
All it
We
would
could do a
take.
movie night at that the Bigfoot Lodge. That'd be a great
That would
place.
be really fun.
I'm sure they have a projection screen. That'd be
Yes,
perfect.
we got to do some more live shows. I mean, the live shows that we've done, those are
fun.
some of my favorite memories.
I really
Absolutely.
want
Going to
more of
Contact
those.
in the desert and then going to Salt Lake City was awesome.
Yeah.
So fun.
I like anything where we get to actually meet the listeners is pretty rad. I'm trying to think other in-studio memories.
One of my fondest memories is the day that we decided that you guys were going to stop paying me and we were all going to be partners together.
Oh my God, that was one of my
Yeah,
favorite
we
days,
were
too.
happy with that too.
I awkwardly brought it up in front of the guest after
Oh
the
my
show, and I was
God.
like, "You guys, I kind of want to talk to you about this. I think I want to like be
We were
a
like,
real part
we
of this
forgot
show."
cash.
I am so glad you did that because in my head
too.
I was spelling out. Well, I just
Doing the
kept
math.
hearing Don say, "Wait, this not only is this taking up all of your time, and you're paying for it too." Just so glad we.
Has Dawn listened to one episode of this show?
Yes, she has. She was.
Which one?
I don't know. She was like listening the other day, and she was like, "Yeah, it's not my thing."
Nice. I appreciate her honesty.
Yeah.
I know, I do too.
But yeah,
I
that was
love
the
it.
day for me that the clubhouse cohered.
Yeah.
you know, and
No
I was like,
doubt
okay,
about
we're
it.
all doing this together. We're in this together. This is our show together. These aren't clients anymore.
Thank God.
Right.
These are my friends.
Dude.
and we're making a
Brothers,
show.
Bigfoot
Oh, amen.
brothers.
Bam.
We're
Brothers
Bigfoot.
and Bigfoot.
Guys, we're transcending from Bigfoot boys into the Bigfoot Brotherhood.
I know. I love it.
Season 3,
I
year
guess
3.
I'll just excuse myself.
Oh,
Do
No,
this
you can
and-
be
No.
a brother.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
not.
okay.
It's not a gender-based
Yeah,
brotherhood.
no. It's a brotherhood.
It's an.
Yeah.
It's an alliterative thing.
right.
Right.
I remember one episode where
Could be a Sasquatch sisterhood.
yeah,
too.
your Sasquatch
Yeah.
sisterhood. Love that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh
interrupt.
no, it's
came
fine.
to me.
Where we had one of our guests, Anna Camp, who was coming on, and Mike was like, okay, she's got a lot of social media followers. Let's hit her up with something cute and adorable, which everybody loves.
Let's give it a big name
Let's give
episode.
it a
Really
big
blow
name
this
episode,
out.
blow it out. Let's do the Yeti. And I was like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. And then as I started to do the research, I was like, oh, there's so much Yeti stuff. And I was reading the 37th Parallel by Ben Mesrick, which just happens to be about, cattle mutilations. And so it came time for High Strangeness. And Mike's like, oh, all right, here we go. This is exciting. And I was like, Anna, what do you know about cattle mutilations? And Mike's face was like,
Not that one.
oh, man.
Yeah,
It was
before that, I
so
was like,
funny,
so you
though.
got your Yeti stuff? He's like, actually, I'm going to do the Paranormal Highway. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Okay. No, actually, that's
sounds
cool.
fun, yeah.
A lot of UFOs
Right,
there. And
right.
he just opens with animal mutilation, right?
God.
Exsanguation. immediate. I was
But
like,
she
oh,
took it
buddy.
really well,
removal
though.
of
She did. She
genitalia.
loved
She did.
it, though, right?
Yeah, it was
she
great.
really loved
It
it.
turned out to be one of the best moments
Oh
of
my
the show.
God.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite memories are all of Bryce's High Strangeness. Chupacabra with Tom Lank comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great one where you just went into explaining the plot of Species.
Is that also the one where you started reading Amazon reviews?
Yes.
yeah.
Which
Oh
one
my
were
God,
you?
that's
Yeah,
funny.
what was the episode where you were just reading some woman's like Amazon
That's
review of
hilarious.
a book
think it
that you
was
didn't
book
read?
Yeah.
It was one of those. This was
It
all
was such a good review. It needed to be shared.
Honestly,
Oh my God.
I should just not even ever give you any suggestion because
my
when you
God.
don't take my advice, it always turns out amazing.
Researching the stories of high strangeness is always very. I put a lot of I take it so seriously, and I want to get to the bottom of the phenomena. So
Right.
it can become so overwhelming. Where Michael's just like, dude, just tell the story, and that's great. And it's like, no, but I got to try and figure out what's going on and
Right.
and who the players are and what it
It's-
all means.
I mean,
and-
listen, I get it. I
so strange.
obviously get weirdly passionate about certain topics,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, I have to remind myself that's not our job. Our job here is just to tell the stories
Totally.
and
Absolutely.
celebrate the high strangeness
Yep.
of it all.
Amen.
Let the listener decide.
Amen.
It's a lesson that I have to learn a lot too.
Yeah.
Because I like to inject my opinions.
Another thing though that I've really loved about doing this podcast now for this long is I guess maybe credibility isn't the right word, but like getting in communication with all these people who I admire so much in this sort of paranormal world. And you can like see it on our feeds and stuff, like talking to people like, John Tenney and Greg and Dana Newkirk and Ryan Sprague.
Yeah, and meeting like Linda S. Godfrey.
Linda S. Godfrey
and Jeremy Corbell, friend of the show.
All the people that we really admire. It's nice to like be in sort of that circle of the strange now, which
circle of the strange.
Y'all are
like
some
that.
big players now, basically.
Yeah, right. I know. It feels
You're
like
in it to win it.
We're Bigfoot ballers.
Oh man, can I? Oh, that was good. Can I say I wanted to add to one of my most favorite things is when we went to Jeremy Corbell's the
Bob Lazar
screening, and I was like, what the? I was like, I'm at a red carpet alien event.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And there was a step and repeat, and I was like, man, this is so cool that we're like in the world. We're like at the exclusive premiere of like an alien
How
thing.
crazy
I was
is
like,
that
is so cool.
Think about the timing of this
heavy
all
hitters,
too,
man.
because like right after that, like Corbell went on Joe Rogan, and it started this whole Area 51.
Unintentionally.
Unintentionally.
Come on the
it started
show,
this
Joe
whole
Rogan.
alien stock thing. And, right when our podcast came out, that big New York Times article dropped. And it seems like just like, God, timing is everything in anything that you do. But it's just like, I feel like we slipped right into the stream of this thing. And the timing has just been incredible.
Sidebar, we recently met a girl that went to the Storm Area 51 thing.
Oh, no way.
And told us about it. For starters, she told us that she's part alien.
She is an alien.
Oh,
So
wow.
She's not part alien. She's an alien.
Well, she's part human.
She told me she was an alien
she
and
had
trapped in a
alien
human
ancestry.
body.
I guess
Alien ancestry. No way.
But she
I talked to her a lot.
Yeah, you did. You guys
because I
really-
was like, "Oh, you're an alien? Please tell me more."
Yeah. But so she said that about 3,000 to 5,000 people actually showed
Yeah.
up to
Oh,
the
wow.
event. So it's
Absolutely.
more than what people were saying.
That's pretty
She also
big.
said there was some weird stuff happening where
A lot of conspiracies.
people's cell phones were like stopping working in certain places, and people were noticing that photos were just disappearing from their phones.
Oh, weird.
So there were a lot of
Stream.
conspiracy theories floating about.
Oh, I
Right.
bet.
Another really interesting thing, she said that there were several decoy events before the main event set up
Right.
to detract people off.
So they
Jeremy
From making
Corbell's
it to
was
the
the
main
decoy
one.
event.
Really?
Yeah, down the.
So-
I mean, I wouldn't. He threw it further down, 30 miles
there
down
was
the road.
one in Vegas too, at a Vegas
there was one in
club.
Vegas.
There's that one too. But
So
she
there
said
was like a few of
making
them.
your way down the road, you'd see it
Right.
and it'd be like just a few people hanging out to be like, oh, this is a bust.
Wow.
So that was an interesting
Well,
little...
she said that she'd get to it and she'd be like, "Is this it? Like, is this where we're at? Is this our spot? We're camping out here?" And they'd be like, "Yeah." And then she'd be like, "Oh, where are you? Where's all my friends?" And they would be like at a different location.
Weird.
So
conspiracy
strange.
theories there.
Yeah, that's
Right.
crazy. I mean, Budweiser came out with an alien can. This is how
That was
big
in
this-
Vegas.
This
lot
is
of
how
those.
big this subject
That's 'cause
has bought.
Well, they also realized
you know?
we can make money.
We can sell
We can make
more
more
beer.
money in Vegas than we
I
can
know,
in
but
Rachel,
I
Nevada.
mean, you have to celebrate a good old tasty
Sure.
BL with
Yeah.
an alien on it.
It was
I
a
mean,
good.
God,
We bought a bunch of those beers.
We did.
I bet.
But yeah, she said that the event itself was a really positive vibe. She said that it was the people that were there were, had that open mind and the high energetic vibration.
Yeah.
And she said it was a really great time.
I bet
So
they'll
that's-
do it again next year. I bet this thing goes on for years to come.
All right. Well, maybe we'll go to Alien Stock next year.
Hell yeah.
We'll see. It all depends on how Don wants to celebrate your anniversary.
It does fall on the same day.
Okay, guys. Well, again, it's the wrap up of our Halloween month. But before we get to your listener stories and your Halloween stories, we have a little bit of. So did you guys see this? Speaking of Greg Newkirk, he retweeted this last night. I thought this was a cool headline. This gets real scientific.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to get through it as quickly and briskly as possible. This is from astronomy.com. Scientists used IBM's quantum computer to reverse time, possibly breaking a law of physics.
No.
So I'm going to read directly from this article that is by Corey Haynes from astronomy.com.
Corey Haim?
Corey Haim is alive and well and writing for astronomy.com. No, Corey Haynes.
I know. Okay, gotcha.
Like the underwear, but with a Y.
Gotcha.
So normally the universe's trend towards disorder is a fundamental law, the second law of thermodynamics. It says more formally that any system can only move from more to less ordered, and that the chaos or disorder of the system, its entropy, can never decrease. But an international team of scientists led by researchers at the Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology think they may have discovered a loophole. For their experiment, the scientists use IBM's simple public quantum computer program, which uses 2 qubits, 2 units, like a regular computer bit, can be a 1 or 0. But unlike regular computer bits, qubits can also take a form called superposition, where they are both 1 and 0 at the same time.
Wow. A good visual for the idea of entropy is breaking an egg into a skillet, and once that egg spills out, there's no way to get that egg back to what it once was.
And that's a great example. In this article, they open with the idea of a glass shattering or a mirror falling to the ground and shattering. We're going to return to that visual in a minute. So the scientists then ran a different program, which tells the computer to run... So the scientists set up the computer so that both qubits are zeros. According to quantum laws, the simple passage of time will cause the computer to fall out of this order so that the qubits are soon in a random assortment of ones, zeros, or both. So that's the entropy. Great. But scientists can also cause this to happen by running a program on their simple 2-qubit computer. The scientists then ran a different program, which tells the computer to run backward. They then ran the first program again and were able to recover their original 00 state about 85% of the time.
Wow.
They published their results back in March 13th in Scientific Reports. The tricky part of the program is telling the computer to run backward, effectively making time run backward. Scientists investigated this, quote-unquote, in the wild by isolating a single electron and calculating how long it would take for random perturbations in the universe to cause such an effect. They found that even if they studied 10 billion electrons every second, it would take the lifetime of the universe for such a phenomenon to happen just one time.
Wow.
That's why you'll never drop a handful of glass shards, or in Bryce's example, an egg, and see them leap together to form an unbroken mirror or egg, while a dropped mirror will almost always splinter into many pieces. The system will always tend towards disorder. But by forcing order to rise from disorder with a quantum computer program, scientists may have found a way around this basic physical law.
This
is heady shit.
That's
hard to visualize, but this is kind of cool.
Right.
So they're figuring out a way to reverse entropy, basically. Which is could be unlocking the key to reversing time.
Well, and larger ideas point to, some scientists think that, when they learned that the universe was expanding, that it therefore also must shrink. And that was the idea that the universe could never,
close in on itself
because it had already entropied. So, the idea is that the universe is continually expanding at a faster rate to never come back again, but just in an infinite expansion.
I always picture it going out, and then it starts to collapse in on itself.
Yeah, I do too. I always imagined it as like a breathing, like a pranic breath, the universe expands and contracts, expands and contracts, and it's the great cycle of time. But
well, that's interesting that they're simulating this digitally, because I think that I don't know, Riley and I have talked about this before about, uploading consciousness onto software after we die and getting to that point where maybe our consciousness could be turned into binary. And then maybe in that universe, we have the ability to turn back time through like a program. Relive some sort of experience digitally in our
doing
consciousness.
It with these qubits or quantum bits, which is crazy. That's like Philip K. Dick shit. I don't know.
We are in a time of scientific exploration that could really just blow the mind. I mean, if we start looking at consciousness and then the idea or theory of time and breaking some headway into it, things could really get funky.
Here's what I don't understand about that. So it seems like they're just making a new set of rules and doing it based on those rules. It's not doing it within the actual rules of this reality. Like, whereas if
it's random, that's why it's weird.
If I filmed a glass being dropped and it broke, and then I just reversed it.
Well,
Like, didn't really-
I think essentially what
don't
they're doing
understand.
is they're actually writing a new program that will have that teaches the computer to reverse the experiment in a way that they actually retain 85% of the time the original ordered field. So it is moving the program. Like, again, this is all on the quantum. This is all above our heads.
Right.
But they are basically through this quantum computer reversing time within that program, essentially.
Right.
Riley's wondering why that's any different than rewinding.
I
Yeah.
think you could think of it like this. Think about it almost predicting what would happen with those digits when you start the reverse process. So imagine it's starting at 0, 0, right?
Yeah.
And then it starts spitting out 1 and ones and zeros. Now it's gone into entropy, right?
Yeah.
Say that exists for, let's say, a million digits, right? So now you have 1,000,000 digits on paper, right?
Yeah.
Now you start the process again. Only this time you reverse it.
Right.
The first digit of the reversal process will be the last digit of the process that went forward in entropy.
Yeah.
And it will be the exactly identical
Okay.
to that from the future of those million digits.
The difference is they're instead of rewinding the film,
You're starting
they're
from the
actually
beginning.
rewinding the broken glass.
You're starting
Right.
at the end and getting back
They're not
to the beginning.
rewinding they're actually trying to put the egg back together, but they're doing it with these quantum bits.
Which is unheard of if you think about it.
Okay. I
So
get
now
what you mean. Yeah.
I interpreted what you just said as like instead of taking this linear line of numbers and starting from the end and going back again, they're just starting from the beginning, and yet and then it's going in the reverse, starting from the beginning.
Pretty much.
So it's not just rewinding one linear thing; it's starting a whole
It's a
new
fresh
thing,
thought.
Yes.
fresh
Yeah.
thing, and yet it's 85% of the
yeah,
time.
85% of the time they're getting
reverse.
those zeros right. Exactly.
Starting from 0, 0 every time.
they're able to restore
Right.
order from disorder.
That was
Please
a
hit
good
bong now.
Yeah. Reset bongs now. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's time for your Halloween stories.
Sweet.
I think time is just the way our consciousness experiences the
That's what I think.
Yeah, it's
third
a dimension.
No,
We
of
just
course.
experienced one sliver of it.
It's a
Yeah,
filtered
it's much-
dimension.
It's like going
Absolutely.
pages.
That's not what I meant, guys.
No, I
know that.
I do. I actually think it is kind of like the way that a book is unchanging, unless you go in and rewrite it, I guess.
It's always just a book.
But I think it is a construct. I think if time travel exists, it's already happened, and therefore you can't change the past.
Right.
Because if you could, it would have already happened. Because we're already living in the result of any time travelers going in the past and trying to fuck with the time stream.
Feedback loop.
Dude, did you,
Vibes.
speaking of cool scientific shit, how about that article about that blob that I sent you?
That was cool.
It's this blob that is able to,
Ew.
they don't know if it's if I'm trying to find the article about it, but
Is it a deep sea blob?
no, it's like a fungus or like a spore, but it doesn't have a brain, obviously, but yet it seems to respond to these intelligence
It knows
tests.
all the songs of Bob Dylan.
No, they set food on the other side of this obstacle, and it finds a way to get to the food and learn from its mistakes, which implies sentience, like in a strange way.
Life finds a way.
Yeah, I know, it's fucking crazy. Anyway, we'll put the link in the bio,
Cool.
in the show notes.
Great.
Speaking of time and such, we've been recording for a while now.
Yay!
Let's jump into this week's listener files. So we're going to read some stories, and then we're going to get to a few of your voice memos that you left for us. Now, I'm sorry if your voice memo didn't make it into this episode. If you send us one after we've recorded this, we will save it, and we'll try to put it up in a future L-Files episode. So here we go. I'll go first. This is called Paranormal Story. Hi, Michael, Bryce, Riley, and L-Files guests. That would be Grace. I wanted to share the paranormal experiences I've had at work. Sorry this is long, but I wanted to take the whole thing, share the whole thing for context. Well, actually, I got to tell you, it's not nearly as long as some of the ones we get. I'm a nurse, and I would work nights at a large hospital in Tennessee. I work on the mother-baby floor, and we moved to our current floor in April of 2018. Prior to us being there, The floor was where cardiac patients were cared for following heart procedures, etc. Working night shifts make the hospital seem especially creepy, but I noticed that our floor is especially so, especially during the renovations when we would come see the progress at night. I always felt like I was being watched. And one night, after we had been on the floor for about 6 months, I was charting in one of the charting stations in the back hallway of the floor at around 3 o'clock, when suddenly I heard my name said right next to me, plain as day. There was no one there, and I checked all around me, including the hallways next to the charting station, and no one was there. I went to the front nurse's station where most of the other staff were and asked if anyone had come back to where I was or said my name, and all they said was that they hadn't. I initially shook it off as just being tired, but still felt creeped out by it. Fast forward to about 2 weeks later when another nurse heard suspicious noises coming from the supply room in the nursery, like someone was walking around in a small space. This other nurse, let's call her Sarah, used to be a paranormal investigator and knew about my experience as well as other staff hearing weird noises and a few instances of call lights in empty patient rooms going on and off on their own.
Who do you think brought the paranormal activity?
Hey, Sarah.
Blame Sarah.
Sarah.
Everything was fine till you got here, Sarah.
Sarah decided we should investigate. Sounds like a real Sarah.
Oh, Sarah.
Classic
Should we investigate, Sarah? Oh, okay.
Happen to have your EPK? What is it? EK? I can never remember.
EKG.
Yeah, your electronic press kit.
EKG.
You're going to interview these ghosts for entertainment
Make it a reality
tonight?
show.
I jumped at the chance since I'm interested in this stuff. So that night we placed a roll of silk tape upright like a wheel on a car. Oh, she brought props. She brought crafts. On the counter in the nursery, there were no babies around at the time, and said, important sidebar, and said that if a spirit was present, it should make the tape roll across the counter.
You imagine if you're the mother of your newborn and you're in the hallway looking through the glass, like, can I just ask what they're doing? Oh, it's just a paranormal experiment, real quick. There's a lot
They've
of
got
activity.
tape.
Ghosts
They're asking ghosts to move the tape. It's fine. And we asked a few times and had just about to give up when the tape rolled about 4 inches across the counter.
Oh, man.
We were standing a few feet away from the counter, so it could not have been any influence from us to make it move. And the tape roll itself was a little bent from being in my pocket that shift. So there had to be some effort put into it to make it move. I had been skeptical up to that point, but that event made me a believer. Since then, Sarah and I have used a small Maglite flashlight to ask yes/no questions, which is one of the methods I love that they are now just fully
on board.
spending their time doing paranormal investigations in the hospital. Which is one of the methods she used as an investigator. Twist a flashlight to between off and on to the point that the light does not come on when tapped against your hand. The spirits put their energy into it to make the light come on. The handful of times we have done this in various areas on the floor were almost always to get intelligent responses, and the 3 spirits we have communicated with so far indicated that they are a former nurse on that floor, a patient that died somewhere else in the hospital but hangs out there, and a patient that died on that floor.
I imagine them in like the break room with the lights out and candles lit around like a Ouija board. Like, Greg, shut the door.
Meanwhile,
New ghosts to investigate.
Yeah.
I still continue to hear my name said by a disembodied voice every now and then, and see shadows on occasion. I have been told by a medium that I am likely a medium whose abilities are now just coming online. I'm 29. So I guess I can now add skilled in therapeutic communication with the deceased as a special skill on my resume now. Thanks for such an awesome podcast. You guys are great. Thank you. That's from Rebecca. Rebecca, that was fucking awesome.
That was a great one.
That is so funny and
that's
so
awesome.
great and so spooky. I love it. I just love it. I love it. You guys are just like
all in.
Yeah.
Just
the tape, and then they were like, "Oh, that's it. They're here. The tape moved, guys."
That's crazy shit, though, man.
That's pretty
it's
great.
like, listen, I'm fascinated by those cases, I don't want to use the word poltergeist, but where there's paranormal activity, where things move about rooms and,
Right.
the physical world is affected somehow.
Why don't you want to use the word poltergeist? Is there something
'cause
weird about it?
just-
You don't
yeah.
like you don't like the vibe of it?
Poltergeist, the actual word is Geist means ghost. It comes from the etymology is German. I think Geist means ghost. and
Polter is chicken.
Polter. No,
Chicken ghost.
I was going to say polter is like a silly or obnoxious. So it's like
annoying ghost.
Obnoxious ghost. Yeah. But anyway, crazy
Okay.
stuff.
All right.
All right.
One
Shall
thing, I just sidebarring
Yeah.
again. I think that's my favorite word today, apparently,
Yeah.
is sidebar.
Okay, go ahead.
I heard
Sidebar,
a really
guys.
interesting This American Life episode where a guy used that flashlight method in a seance thing to speak to his
Right.
deceased parents. Mm-hmm. And then there's a debunk on that method, which is basically that when the light you unscrew it just enough so that it can chatter on and off. When the light, when it cools down enough, then the metal will contract, and it will drop and make contact.
Right.
And then the light will heat up enough, which will cause it to expand, and it'll remove contact again. So the light will always do that effect of turning on and off.
Rebecca, Sarah's a liar.
And then-
She's been lying to you.
I'm not saying that, and I'm
no,
not, and I obviously can't explain the tape.
Oh yeah,
but
I
there's-
remember this
Yeah, it's a-
episode.
it's a-
We heard it together.
We'll try to look it up and put in the show
Yeah.
notes which episode it is. But that's another perspective on that flashlight technique. That's
Right.
a thing. I'd hate to be
Yeah.
the buzzkill, but
No, yeah,
And
the
way to
heating and
ruin
cooling up will change the conduit
fun
effect.
paranormal
Hey,
right.
hospital story.
Don't shit on our Halloween.
I know.
just-
Sorry, Rebecca.
just to argue against that too, that's not the only, that's just one experiment. Another experiment with flashlights is 1 for no, 2 for yes, so a lot of times people will get like a communication methodology going where it can't just be like
Right.
spontaneous flickers that go on and off. It'll seem like intelligent conversation or intelligent communion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there'd
but
be like
again,
a
it's my favorite phrase. The old confirmation bias starts slipping in there.
Yeah,
well,
maybe.
but what Bryce is saying is like you could get an instance for when you're communicating and it wouldn't have an effect on the cooling up and warming method. Like it would be out of sync with that. You know what I mean? Like you could do a test and get really scientific about it and make sure that
Let's
it's
get
not
the Moscow Institute of Theoretical Physics
Right.
over here,
Right.
And let's do this. Poltergeist.
Yeah.
This is from Wikipedia.
Oh, okay.
The German language words poltern, to make sound, and to rumble, and Geist, ghost and spirit. The terms itself translates into noisy ghost or
Noisy
rumble
ghost.
ghost. I like rumble ghost.
Rumble
Ghost.
ghost, that was
Let's put that
it.
on the
Or
band list.
loud spirit. So that
Right,
makes sense.
right.
That's very close to what you were saying.
Just a weird
All
wumble
right,
ghost.
Bryce, what do you got over there?
So I have a story of high strangeness. This is from Luke.
Let's not say his last name just in case.
No, yeah, this
Skywalker.
is from Luke, who I actually might have ran into on a secret project of mine. And he writes in, about 7 years ago, an out-of-town friend was coming to visit my house for the first time. As it got later in the evening, the group of us were sitting in the living room, talking and laughing up a storm. The group of us consisted of my brother, his girlfriend, my out-of-town friend, his girlfriend, and myself. Much like anyone else these days, we all had our cell phones laid out on the coffee table in front of us while chatting. In the middle of us talking and laughing, a loud phone ring started to go off. The volume was loud enough to startle us, and the ring went on for a good 20 seconds or more. I immediately asked my friend if he was going to answer his phone. I asked this because I was sure that this ringtone was not my own or my brother's and his girlfriend's. My friend and his girlfriend looked at me in confusion and said, "That's not our phone ringing either." We all looked at our phones on the coffee table as this loud ring continued, and sure enough, not one of our cell phones were ringing. What makes this story so strange is that the loud ringtone was the standard classic ring of one of those rotary phones from the 80s. In addition, my house does not have a landline, as we use our cell phones instead. That loud standard ring is what really startled us that evening because none of us use that as ringtones on our cell phones. To make matters worse, my house is full of many possessions from my late great-grandmother's house. This includes an old rotary phone, which just so happened to be in a box stored in a cabinet that was right next to the couch where we were all sitting that night. I found the phone in a box wrapped up in a cloth the following day. because I had remembered seeing it when I first stored it in my house after my great-grandmother had passed away. We were all a little freaked out that night, and the following day, we still cannot think of how this old phone started ringing in the middle of the night while we were all talking and having a good time. The phone was never plugged in, and even if it were, there was no way for it to receive a call since we do not have a landline service for the house. This event has always stuck in my head, and I still cannot explain this moment of high strangeness.
Whoa, Luke.
Yeah.
That is next level. It's one of the best stories I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What if they answered the phone?
Oh, that would have been awesome. That would have been, you would have got Ingrid cold.
There is another sky.
You know, this reminds me of those experiences of John Keel all the time. He would get all kinds of sometimes, as he often reported, he would enter a house to follow up on an investigation, and the phone would ring.
Have a bow.
Who are you supposed to be?
Yoda?
I don't know what's happening.
It's dying Yoda.
It's
and
horny dying Yoda.
He's making obscene phone calls.
Horny dying Yoda.
I just can't stop thinking about them all,
Horny
the
dying
image of
Yoda.
them all sitting together.
Yeah.
And because we all know what our phone sounds like.
Yeah.
So them just kind of all being like, are you gonna fucking get that, or
Yeah.
you just let it ring? And then that's none of their ringtones.
That's
That would have
creepy.
been crazy to feel that.
I love the idea of answering the phone. Like if you would have,
Man.
you never know what would
But
have
you
been
know
on the other line.
nobody would have picked up on the other line.
Well, they didn't even
I
know
would've
that
fucking
rotary
picked
ghost
up.
phone was even in the room until later.
That's unbelievable.
Should we play a live voicemail from one of our
let's do it.
guests? Let's
Speaking
do
of
this. This is
phones.
one of your Halloween stories that you sent in to us.
Hi, Michael. Hi, Bryce. Hi, special guest.
Nice.
I'm so glad you're here.
Sorry, Riley.
My name is Anne.
Sidebar, in the email, she shouts me out. So we're
okay.
all
Cool,
good.
Nice.
cool.
All right, good.
One more sidebar there.
I am a veterinarian, and I play in punk rock bands.
Hell yeah.
And I'm an avid Bigfoot supporter. I wanted to tell you about the creepy experience I had when I was 15. I still can't explain it to this day. And when I think about it too much, it still gives me the willies. So I was 15. I was at home, obviously. I was watching, I think, The Kids in the Hall on television. And I started to get sleepy and fall asleep. And so I was laying on the couch and I turned my back to the living room. So I was on my side. And then I heard and felt a whispering in my ear as I was dozing off. And I could actually feel the breath, and the language was not one that I was familiar with. But I pretty much just froze in where I was, and I pulled the blanket I was under over my head, and then there was a giant, I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like someone was standing over me and like with two fists pounded the pillow next to me as hard as they could, so much that my head moved off the pillow. Now the voice I kind of was freaked out about, but I thought that maybe that was just because I was dozing off and having a dream. But the kind of fist or whatever hitting my pillow, that really freaked me out. And I peeked under the sheet or the blanket to look at the pillow, and there was a huge indentation. So then, being the very brave 15-year-old, I ran. I bolted up and I ran with the blanket over my head like a banshee into my mother's room. And I got in there and I asked if I could sleep in there. And she just kind of mumbled like, rah, 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 rah. Yeah, okay. And so I was laying there. I I pulled the blanket up over my head again, and I was laying there just panicked. Like, my stomach was in knots, my heart was racing, and I was trying to figure out, like, what the fuck just happened to me? And then we used to have this big tomcat named Bruno, and he was adorable, by the way. But it felt like he was a big guy, and it felt like he jumped up onto my stomach. Like, I felt the feet hit and then the weight onto my stomach. And I still had the blankets over my head because I was a wimp. And then I went to, I don't know, it was kind of comforting that he had jumped up there. And so I went to pet him, and I could feel nothing. Mind you, the blanket is still over my head. So I reached around from under the blanket and went to pet him, and there was nothing there. And once I realized that, it felt like all 15-pound of cat started to sink through my body, like into the mattress underneath me. And it was kind of like a burning feeling. I can't describe it any other way except burning. And then I woke up my mom, who, I have to say, my mom was a pretty severe alcoholic when I was younger, so she did not appreciate being woken up. But to her credit, she was still a great mom and is now much better. But I just told her I was very scared and I didn't know what to do. And she put her arms around me, and then we somehow both fell asleep. Well, I'm sure my mom fell asleep right away, but I was comforted by that, and we fell asleep, and it never happened again. And I still don't know to this day what happened, but it scared the bejesus out of me. So, anyway, thank you so much. I'm a big fan of both your works, and I really love that I found this podcast a few months ago, and I have since binged them all and caught up, and now I am stuck waiting for each episode to come out. But I am very happy when they do, and I'm very happy that you're doing this. Thank you so much.
Whoa.
Yay.
Wow.
Love that.
Jesus.
Wow.
Ghost Cat.
What was that listener's name again? Annie.
Ghost Cat.
Ghost something.
Yeah.
Burning
Story.
ghost cat.
And who is this bejesus we keep hearing about?
Yikesy, yikesy.
He's like an off-brand Jesus.
Right.
He's the RC Cola of
Yeah.
Jesus.
15-pound Hellcat.
That story was terrifying.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
the
that
part
would
where
fuck
the
me right
cat
up.
goes through her chest.
Well, I don't
That's
think
awesome.
it was a cat. She thought it was their cat. And instead, it was whatever this presence was that had been pounding on her
Jesus.
pillow in the other room. And then it sunk through her.
Oh,
The
right,
sinking
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot like the sleep paralysis accounts, but this one's
Right.
different.
This is
But
some
the
negative-
pressure on the chest and
Right.
all that stuff.
This is some negative
Right. I
energy
wonder,
shit.
It could
Yeah.
have, a sleep paralysis.
I don't know.
You know, it's interesting that she brought up her mother's alcoholism too, because something we've talked about a lot on the show is that, that's why they call it spirits, and that a lot of alcohol use can potentially open you up to these malevolent entities.
So you're
Yeah.
saying she was the 15-year-old was drunk, or
No,
the mom.
just the
okay.
general alcohol vibe in the house all the time.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah,
that somehow
right.
opened things up to that.
Oh.
very
maybe
true.
just that illness is attracting some negative
Right,
energy
yeah.
along with
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
who knows?
spooky story. Thanks so much for finding us and listening to the show. And wow,
I love that nurses and doctors and veterinarians are listening to us. I feel validated.
Smarter?
Smarter for somehow them listening.
I think they just
How
need
does that work?
Smart people like
think
us.
Is that transference? What is that?
I think they need fluffy distraction from their very stressful jobs.
Oh, gotcha. Right.
Also,
Grace.
so glad to hear your mother's doing better.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
great.
that's good.
Thank you
Holy
so
cow.
much.
Grace, you have a listener story over there.
do.
Do you want to read it
Yes,
to
I do.
the group?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a short one. Shadow children, ghosts, interdimensional being? ?
Okay.
You be the judge. Hello, BCC and guest. That's me. I was introduced to you by Liza's Schlesinger's podcast and have been binge watching since. I've always been alien obsessed enough to get a tattoo. Aliens are to me what Bigfoot is to Bryce.
Awesome.
I love learning about the mysteries of this world, so clearly I've become obsessed with your podcast. I apologize in advance for my lack of creative writing and horrible attempt at sharing this story. Hope you enjoy, though. I've had multiple ghostly experiences, but this one takes the cake. When I was somewhere between...
I hope it's about a ghost that steals a slice of cake.
I hope it's about a cake ghost. It actually is not far off. When I was somewhere between 10 and 13, I was in Girl Scouts and lived in Georgia. One weekend, we, Girl Scout troop, went camping at Lake Lanier, which has its own spooky past. We were up on a hill from the lake, and below was a beachy area. My friends and I were talking outside our tents when we heard kids laughing. It sounded close, yet almost echoed as if it was far away. We looked down the hill to the beach to see about 5 or 6 kids running around. However, these kids were solid black. Clothes, shoes, skin, no color on any part of their bodies.
Whoa.
Body spelled with a Z. Hell yeah. As if it were just a silhouette of them. We shortly went down there to check out the water. Upon stepping out of the woods and onto the beach, we were immediately greeted by a barking dog coming our way. He was with 2 guys who were sitting at the edge of the woods. I asked them how long they had been there and whether or not they saw the kids running by moments before. They said no, and that they had been there for over an hour, and explained that their dog barks at anyone who walks by. I got chills after hearing this. No idea who or what those kids were, but it has often crossed my mind for years. Hope you enjoyed my brief story. I might send more in the future. Thanks, guys.
Whoa, spooky children.
Wow. So
Shadow
she's saying
children.
that if the children had been there, the dog would have barked because the dog barked at them.
Yeah.
So definitely some ghosts happening.
You know what's
Super
amazing,
spooky.
man, is like you hear all these stories and all these people have these like sort of one-off instances that just totally set them on a path of
Right.
like wanting to know more about the world of the strange.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. And sometimes they have recurring things, but all it takes is that one thing for somebody to see or to experience to sort of change their life forever, or at least their views anyway. It's wild. I mean, I think we can all relate.
I want to know what the other Girl Scouts... I need a follow-up because I want to know what the other Girl Scouts
Get your
thought.
whole troop to write in. I
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Track them
This is
down.
troop
Also-
534.
Also, can we have some Girl Scout cookies,
Yeah.
Yes, please. All right, Riley, you got one?
I do.
Bryce, did you want to hop on the keyboard for this
Let
one?
me sound machine.
Whoa,
You've been
this
wanting
shit
to
up.
do this for a while.
Whoa.
Why don't you pull up that stool over there?
Cool
Switch
sound
up.
here, buddy.
Sit next to Mr. Bray, and
Wow,
you get
vibes.
to hit that
All right, buddy.
soundboard.
All right.
Yeah, here we go.
Hit me one time. Spooky. Hello. I would like to start with, I love your podcast, and I've listened to your episodes over and over. All right, repeat listens. I found you through The Witch and the Medium, and now I'm a huge fan. Thank you for all the entertaining episodes, and I wish you luck on future plans. That is some spooky sounds for a very light intro. Yeah, when you push it harder, it makes the noise get scary. Oh, you can't even hear what you're doing.
Put mine on. Put mine on. Put mine on.
Here's my story.
Couldn't hear what he was doing.
A group of my friends and I went out drinking one weekend, catching up and hanging out one night. We all somehow got back to our friend Denny's house, plastered out of our minds, but in one piece. None of us were in any condition to drive home, so we crashed around the house, on the floor, pool table, lazy boys, etc. I passed out on the couch in the front family room. Denny didn't use the room much, so the lights were always off, and it seemed a little bit creepy to me. I figured it was because it was always dark. I woke up feeling hands around my neck, choking me. I could not breathe. I could not move. I could not see anything there. Note that I have never had sleep paralysis before this. I am aware of old hag syndrome, but this wasn't it. I didn't feel a weight on my chest. I felt each individual finger around my neck, and that's how tight it was squeezing. Right before I passed out, it let go, and I gasped for breath. I ran out of the room and stayed in the kitchen until someone else woke up, so I wasn't alone. Denny was the first one up. I mentioned it to him, trying my best to convince myself it was a combination of a nightmare and sleep paralysis. He responded with, "Oh yeah, that must have been the ghost." "Excuse me?" "Yeah, the ghost." Apparently, the previous owner of his house was an old white man who died of a heart attack in the front room. He told me most girls that he tried to bring home were creeped out by that room and refused to go in there. I mentioned he was white because I myself am half white, half Native American female, born out of wedlock. If he was an old-fashioned sexist, I hit all his red buttons. Also, both my Native American grandmothers were medicine women. One turned witch in her later years.
Wow.
That's the only reason why I can think he would have gone after me. He says the guy's never attacked anyone before and doesn't bother him, so he hasn't tried to get rid of him. Jessica.
My God.
Whoa, cool story, Jessica.
That was a cool story.
She followed up.
Nice
with
work,
that.
Bryce.
Good job, Bryce.
Yeah, great cues.
What's that thing called again?
This machine that we use?
The machine that all
this
the
is an
spooky sounds
Ableton
come-
push.
Riley always calls it a spaceship.
Yeah.
Jessica followed up with that email and said that now they think the family thinks that maybe she had been abducted or visited by extraterrestrial forces that night.
Oh,
Really?
weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought that was
That's a hell of a follow-up.
Yeah. They've been thinking about it.
I remember I replied to that email, and I just remember talking to her and be like, "It's so funny that your friend was just like, oh yeah, that's the ghost."
Yeah.
Right.
He goes.
Oh, you mean the ghost?
Like it's like his roommate. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah, the ghost. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That's creepy, dude.
That's a scary one. The malevolent ones really
Yeah, they're no bueno.
yeah, scary stuff.
Yeah. All right, we have another voice message that we're going to play before we jump over to this week's story of high strangeness. Let's do
You
it.
are going to love it.
Hi, Michael, Bryce, and Riley. My name's Amy, and I want to tell you about my paranormal story.
Love that accent.
My story begins when I was 15 and my great-grandmother passed away. She was very active in the year after she died. We experienced many different things happening. Most notably, our computer would turn itself on during the night. Our family would hear the Windows song blasting through the house. Once it even turned on right in front of me while I was sitting there. One evening, while I was in bed, I felt an arm wrap itself around my waist, and my mum told me it was my grandmother's way of greeting people. My brother also had the blankets pulled up over him that same night. My dad worked in a convenience store and witnessed drink cup lids fly out of the holders and his headlights blinking on and off in the car park. My dog even started barking at a cabinet that had her picture in it and hid under the table whimpering. I heard the hallway door close on its own while no one else was around, and things fall into the sink while home alone. It stopped after 1 year, but it made me a believer.
Wow.
Wow.
Whoa.
Crazy.
A lot of teens being touched by ghosts today.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe not.
Yeah, spooky stuff. Wow, that's some poltergeist activity.
Wait, was she saying it was her grandmother? Right?
Yeah, it's her grandma.
Well, but there was like stuff falling in the sink and stuff.
Here's
You know?
the grandmother though turning on a computer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Way to go,
Good job,
Grandma.
Granny. Oh, my God.
Oh, that
Oof.
was a cool story.
That was awesome story.
You know, I was thinking, though, it's like, I think so many people are afraid to share their stories because it's so easy to just, discount that as like, oh, what are you talking about? Computers go on and off all the time, or things fall all the time.
Right.
So many people just so quickly and easily discount these things. It's just like, oh, you're over exaggerating.
dog barking at the photo and then
Right.
hiding and whimpering under the
Right.
table.
But
That's
it's like-
insane.
Well, it's discounting someone's intelligence. Being like, no, I know what I experienced.
Right.
Right, totally.
Right.
And
Treasure
it's
gut.
Or discounting your own when you
Yeah.
want to be like, no, that's not.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're happy to hear your stories, and thank you for sending them.
Thank you so much, Amy. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we have a special high strangeness Halloween treat.
Stick around; you're gonna love it.
Okay, and we're back, and it's time for this week's story of high strangeness. That's right. We wanted to add one more Halloween-inspired high strangeness for you guys this month. So it's Bryce's turn. Bebop,
Yeah,
take it away, baby.
man, did this someone send me down a rabbit hole?
Oh,
And
boy.
that's what I love about these stories of high strangeness is you never know what you're gonna get. You may recall I
Life's
sort
like
of,
a box of high strangeness.
life. High strangeness is like a box of chocolates. You never know what rabbit hole you're going to go down. That was terrible. Let's just stop right there. You know, it's well known amongst the denizens of New Orleans that sorry, my computer is giving me all my messages.
Come on, Grandpa,
old-timey phone is ringing from
mine.
a closet.
Let me turn it off. Stop. Turn yourself off. Messages. Oh, look what popped
I
up.
like that a giant Bigfoot just popped up on his computer.
All right, never mind that.
I wasn't looking at
Never mind that. Never mind that.
Why is that Bigfoot's anus displayed in
This is Bryce Johnson.
such a
like-
prominent
It's not
fashion?
that
He
strange.
did something, and then a huge photo of Bigfoot just popped up.
Listen, it's not that strange when you think about it.
Oh my
All
god!
right, here we go. You know, it's well known amongst the denizens of New Orleans that a most mysterious man came to inhabit the French Quarter in the early part of the 19th century. An illuminated master who came over on a ship's barge from France, housed in a sealed coffin. It was only upon the ship's arrival in port that the dockworkers discovered the coffin, which appeared to be pushed open from the inside by someone's bloody handprints. How anyone could survive the long and treacherous journey without food or water was anyone's guess. Now, upon entering the famed French Quarter, a mysterious man found a property for sale. But having no official records or paperwork of his background, the property owner was hesitant. It wasn't until he slipped off his large blue diamond medallion and handed it to the property owner, saying, "This should well cover it." The property owner responded by saying, "Just what's your name anyway, mister?" To which the beautifully pale-faced man replied, "Why, good sir, you may call me Jacques. Jacques Saint Germain."
Is this just fan fiction that you wrote?
No, this is a true story, dude.
What's the name of this story?
I call it Jacques Saint Germain, the vampire of New Orleans.
Oh.
Wow.
Jacques' arrival marked an illustrious time for the strange inhabitants of the Big Easy. Lavish parties were thrown by Jacques all over the city, although never at his place. He would always pay for these huge extravaganzas with rare gems and precious stones, to which he seemed to have an endless supply. Strange, though, he would never eat or drink at his soirees, but he would partake of a strange goblet filled with a red tea or wine.
Oh, please.
Perhaps something else, Grace. Jacques could strike up a conversation with just about anyone and regale them with tales of times long ago. Battles fought, conversations held in high court, secret romances of kings and queens, as if he was somehow there. It was only when one night that Jacques invited a prostitute back to his place
Sex
that
worker?
things started to unravel. Yes, a sex worker. As the story goes, Jacques invited her up to his residence, and as they got into the room, she was unsettled by the queer and uneasy smell that she started to regret her decision. But as she tried to leave, Jacques vanished from where he was by the window and magically reappeared by the door to block her exit. She screamed. Jacques, with the strength of 10 men, lifted her up off the ground by her throat and tried to plunge his teeth into her neck. But fate would have other plans. This one was not going to go quietly. With every ounce of her being, she somehow managed to escape his grip and fled the only way she could, through the window. With a loud crash, she fell 2 stories to the ground below, breaking her leg and screaming for help. As passerbyers came to her aid, she pointed to the second-story window where her attacker resided. The police were summoned, and as they made their way up to Jacques' residence, they opened the door to find a most peculiar scene. There were bottles everywhere filled with what looked like a thick red substance, a substance that could also be found stained on the walls and on the floor. Yet there was no sign of Jacques. The police took the prostitute to the hospital,
Sex worker.
where she told them of Jacques' unearthly maneuvers and appetite. Word got around quite quickly of her harrowing escape, and the good people of New Orleans began to talk. There had been a lot of people to go missing ever since Jacques' arrival, and looking back, although extremely well-groomed and mannered, he certainly was an odd fellow. The police never found their man, nor did he ever return to his residence at 1039 Royal Street, where to this day the room is cordoned off and the second-story window where the lady jumped out is laid over with red brick. On occasion, it has been reported that a devilishly handsome man will appear out of nowhere in some dark alley and ask for a light.
My name is Bryce Johnson.
And
Would you like to see a picture of Bigfoot?
And as the red ember burns the end of his cigarette, this strange European accent tints the air by responding, "And that's not for Jacques, eh?" And like that, he is gone. It didn't take long for the people of New Orleans to start to wonder if Jacques Saint Germain was in fact one and the same with one of the most mysterious and enigmatic personas history has ever known. That of Comte de Saint Germain. They both looked alike. They both had incredible mastery over the English language as well as many others. It was as if they both had skills that would take lifetimes to master, and perhaps they did. The similarities were stacking up. So just who is this Comte de Saint Germain? First and foremost, I'd love to show you a picture of that residence, which is a real place in New Orleans. You probably may recognize it if you've been there.
Are these real people?
Oh, that's Cafe Du
Oh, wow,
Monde.
look at that.
No. Oh, I've seen
That looks
something a
very
lot like
similar.
that.
I've seen.
Yes,
that.
these are real people.
These are people that are documented by many people
Yes.
that have been.
Wait till I start to go into who this Comte de Saint Germain is.
God damn.
It is incredible. This sent me down a spiral. Comte
Bryce
de
is now
Saint-Germain.
really into the goth scene here in LA.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
going to
wearing
go golf
eyeliner
for
right
sure.
now.
I'm
Looks
going
great.
You've
I'm
been
going golf after
You've
this.
been spending your nights at underground clubs.
Yes. Comte de Saint-Germain mysteriously came on the scene in France in the 1700s, though records suggest he may have been alive long before that. Some say even during the time of Christ. French historian and philosopher Voltaire, King Louis XV, and Italian writer and adventurer Casanova all claim to have known him.
No way.
Voltaire even said, "He is a man who knows everything and who never dies." Some even claim he was given the staff of Moses by none other than Moses himself.
Oh, is that how David Sereda got
He
it?
must have passed it on.
Maybe.
Oh.
Callback.
Just maybe.
Wow. So all of those historical people have
Yeah.
claimed to know him.
Yes, and I'll get to more
Wow.
how he seems to be in everybody's personal memories.
I'm blown away.
The Comte Saint-Germain was recognized as an outstanding scholar and linguist of his day. His linguistic proficiency verged on the supernatural. He spoke German, English, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, French with a Piedmontese accent, Greek, Latin, Sanskrit, Arabic, and Chinese with such fluency that in every land in which he visited, he was accepted as a native. Learned, writes one author, speaking every civilized language admirably. A great musician, an excellent chemist, he played the part of a prodigy and played it to perfection. Even his most relentless detractors admitted that the Comte was possessed of almost incredible attainments in every department of learning. The Comte was ambidextrous to such a degree that he could write the same article with both hands simultaneously. When the two pieces of paper were afterwards placed one upon the other, with the light behind them, the writing on one sheet exactly covered the writing of the other. He could repeat pages of print after one reading, to prove that the two lobes of his brain could work independently. He wrote a love letter with his right hand and a set of mystical verses with his left, both at the same time. Now, there's only one book attributed to this mysteriously and supposedly immortal Comte de Saint-Germain, and that is a book called The Trinosophia, an allegorical account of spiritual initiation. Now, Manly Hall, who I'll get to in a second, wrote the intro for this book. And whether Hall's claim that Saint Germain was or is a key Rosicrucian figure is true or not, this is indeed one of the rarest of occult books. And I want to just go to Manly Hall's great tome, The Secret Teaching.
Can you give people listening who is Manly Hall?
Well, for those who don't know, Manly P. Hall is widely regarded as a sage and a teacher steeped in the wisdom of antiquity. He was one of the leading esoteric scholars of the 20th century. In 1934, he founded the Philosophical Research Society in Los Angeles, which is still up and running to this day, And
we should go.
I love to go there. They have the most incredible seminars and lectures. By the time he was 23, Manly Hall had written this, The Secret Teaching of All Ages.
Bryce is hoisting a book in the air.
Which is...
big book.
I mean, the
Coffee
guy's
stand.
knowledge on everything from the Rosicrucianisms, Freemasonry, Celtic Knights, all of it. The guy seems to just have an unendless supply of knowledge. He writes, while the intellectualists flounder among contradictory theories, the mystic treats the problem in an entirely different manner. And this is all in regards to Comte de Saint-Germain. He believes that the true Rosicrucian fraternity, consisting of a school of supermen, not unlike the fabled Mahatmas of India, is an institution existing not in the visible world but in its spiritual counterpart, which he sees fit to call the inner planes of nature. That the brothers can be reached only by those who are capable of transcending the limitations of the material world. Those professing this theory regard the Comte de Saint-Germain as their highest adept and assert that he and Christian Rosenkreutz were one and the same individual. For those who don't know, Christian Rosenkreutz, or CK, is supposedly the mythological founder of the Rosicrucianism movement.
Whoa.
Now, he goes
This guy
on.
is quite the dandy.
I mean, my God. It goes on to say, during the early part of the 18th century, there appeared in the diplomatic circles of Europe the most baffling personality of history. A man whose life was so near a synonym of mystery that the enigma of his true identity was as insolvable to his contemporaries as it has been to later investigators. This remarkable person also had the surprising and impressive ability to divine, even to the most minute details, the questions of his inquisitors before they were asked, by something akin to telepathy. He was also able to feel when his presence was needed in some distant city or state, and it has even been recorded of him that he had the astonishing habit not only of appearing in his own apartment and in those of friends without resorting to the conventionality of the door, but also of departing therefrom in a similar manner. Like a bat, like in that girl's story, that prostitute, how he just zipped
Sex
across the
worker.
room, sex worker, in one flash to another.
This is all from the secret teachings of
Well, the story
all
of,
ages.
yes,
That
the
you're
story
reading
of
right
the-
now.
That's right. The story of Comte de Saint-Germain, who people really believe that Jacques Saint-Germain was, because
Right.
he
Yeah.
even told circles at these soirees that he
And
was
of
one and
course,
the same.
today we all know he's Nicolas Cage.
That's right.
That's right.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
Now, he was on. No, I digress. He was not. He's not Nicolas Cage. Remember, keep in mind, people, this is real
Are we sure?
shit.
Yeah, but haven't you seen the pictures of Nicolas Cage from like 200 years ago?
Oh yeah, right.
There's that
it's
one of
crazy.
Jay-Z
Vampire
too.
dude.
There's really,
that
it's
one.
really shocking. I have a question just to interject.
Yeah.
What was Comte de Saint-Germain? Was he very like self-serving, or was he kind of like a Jesus archetype where he was serving other people?
You know, it's a great question. It's never really alluded to the
Specified?
fact that he was like a philanthropist or something. He would engage these people at parties with these incredible stories of like Egypt and India, and
He
these
seems pretty into
Seems kind
himself.
of like a d-bag, to be
Yeah,
honest.
right, yeah.
I think he's what we could call a malignant narcissist.
Yeah.
I was like,
Manly St. Hall goes on to say, he was on familiar and intimate terms with the crowned heads of Europe and the honored friend of many distinguished persons of all nationalities. He is even mentioned in the memoirs and letters of the day, and always as a man of mystery. Frederick the Great, Voltaire, Madame de Pompadour, Rousseau, Chatham, and Walpole, all of whom knew him personally, rivaled each other in curiosity as to his origin. Now and again, the curtain which shrouds his actions is drawn aside, and we are permitted to see him fiddling in the music room at Versailles, gossiping with Horace Walpole in London, sitting in Frederick the Great's library at Berlin, or conducting illuminist meetings in caverns by the Rhine.
I love the idea that there are like all these famous people are just hanging out with a vampire.
Oh yeah,
pretty cool.
absolutely. Now, it will yet be established beyond all doubt, says Hall, that the Comte de Saint-Germain was both a Mason and a Templar. In fact, the memoirs of Cagliostro, one of the greatest Freemasons and Magi of all time, says, the memoirs of Cagliostro contain a direct statement of his initiation into the Order of the Knights Templars at the hands of Saint Germain. So it was Saint Germain who initiated Cagliostro. Now, it is also reasonably certain
He's
that he
the
was...
Mace Windu of the Rosicrucians.
Basically, it is also reasonably certain that he was connected with the Rosicrucians, possibly having been the actual head of that order. The Comte de Saint-Germain was thoroughly conversant with the principles of Oriental esotericism. He practiced the Eastern system of meditation and concentration. Upon several occasions, having been seated with his feet crossed and hands folded in the posture of a Hindu Buddha, he had a retreat in the heart of the Himalayas, to which he retired periodically from the world. On one occasion, he declared that he would remain in India for 85 years, and then would return to the scene of his European labors. At various times, he admitted that he was obeying the orders of a power higher and greater than himself. What he did not say was that his superior, was the mystery school, which had sent him into the world to accomplish a definite mission. The Comte de Saint-Germain and Sir Francis Bacon, one of my heroes, are the two greatest emissaries sent into the world by the secret brotherhood in the last 1,000 years. Now, E. Francis Oudney, a theosophical writer, is of the belief that the Comte de Saint-Germain was not the son of Prince Rákóczi of Transylvania, but because his age, he could have been none other than the prince himself, who was known to be a deep philosophic nature and a mystic. The same writer believes that Comte de Saint-Germain passed through the philosophic death as Francis Bacon in 1626, as Francis Rákóczi, Prince of Transylvania, in 1735, and as Comte de Saint-Germain in 1784. He also feels that the Comte de Saint-Germain was the famous Comte de Diables, and Count Hompesch was the last Grand Master of the Knights of Malta, and it is well known that many members of the European secret societies have feigned death for various purposes. Marshal Ney, a member of the Society of Unknown Philosophers, escaped the firing squad, and under the name of Peter Stewart, Ney lived and taught school for over 30 years in North Carolina. On his deathbed, Ney told Dr. Locke, the attending physician, that he was Marshal Ney of France. Now, in concluding, an article on this identity of the inscrutable Comte de Saint-Germain, Andrew Lang writes, "Did Saint-Germain really die in the palace of Prince Charles of Hesse about 1780 to 85? Did he, on the other hand, escape from the French prison where Grosley thought he saw him during the French Revolution? Was he known to Lord Lytton about 1860? Is he the mysterious Muscovite advisor to the Dalai Lama? Who knows? He is a will-o'-the-wisp of the memoir writers of the 18th century."
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
God.
Will-o'-the-wisp, but it's a
I know,
total
it's-
callback to that. But it's astonishing, this
that blew my
dude. This
mind.
dude seems to show up everywhere.
Right.
In Marie Antoinette's court, telling her of the things to come, in King Louis XV's favor. He's all over the place. He never seemed to age, never seemed to die. And
Right.
and he's in the memoirs of people like Frederick the Great, Voltaire.
This
All
is very
these-
strange stuff.
Very strange indeed.
I have a question
Yes.
about that. Do you think that it's possible that like Comte de Saint-Germain could be like a title that people have? Maybe it was
Like
something
the
that,
Batman.
like yeah,
Oh,
right.
like in
Yeah.
Princess Bride.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, the dreaded black
Right, dreaded
pirate
black-
Roberts.
I mean,
Pirate
yeah, Dread
Roberts.
Pirate
That's what I'm
Roberts.
saying.
You know,
it's like,
it's
what if it's something like that?
It's
It's like a
possible.
society
Yeah.
that keeps propping this.
Yeah, it's like this is
character
the
up.
Comte, because you referred to him several times as the Comte, right?
Yeah,
so
well,
maybe
you know,
that's
there's one author, I forget her name, but she goes on to say that he took multiple identities
Right.
over lifetime after lifetime and worked as a secret agent.
I
of the
could
French
definitely
court.
see it as like a generational cult.
Right.
That they all act like they're all taking on the like identity of this
Yeah,
guy.
that's a great
Which is
theory.
kind of
I
a
never
cool-
thought of that. You know, there's
That would explain it.
If he showed up in so many different places, he spoke so many different languages fluently. It's like you'd think that maybe it's not one person, but maybe an entity that has many different people.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, it was said that he would travel around with an elixir of light, the tea of Saint Germain, and to this day, you can go into a health food store and find Saint Germain's tea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this got me fascinated.
Oh, it's pretty great.
Yeah, but that house does exist in New Orleans. It is bricked over, and as the legend goes, it is from a mysterious man who bought things with rubies and diamonds and gemstones, a Jacques de Saint Germain.
Awesome. Great job, dude.
Yeah.
Great story.
Spooky vampire stuff. We said we might get some vampires this month, and we
There
did.
you go, vampires. They're real.
They are
Twilight,
real.
baby.
Yeah.
Grace.
Add them to the believe.
What's
Thank
that?
you so much
Believe.
for joining us again on the show.
Yeah,
We-
what a
Absolutely.
pleasure.
part of the family. We always love having you. So here's what is happening next week, guys. We are taking our traditional 2-week break in between Halloween and the second week of November. So next week there will be no new episode. There will be an episode from the Patreon page, The Other Side's Vault. So if you're not a Patreon subscriber, it will be new to you. So you will have something new to listen to. And if you are a member of The Other Side, we will have a all-new Patreon reward episode for you up over on The Other Side as well. So everybody gets something new. This is what we've been doing. And then we will be back in 2 weeks with an all-new episode of Bigfoot Collectors Club. So that's that. Also, Bryce, this is October 30th.
Yes.
And I hear tomorrow there is some news dropping.
Halloween, we will be dropping the official announcement of my secret project that everyone has been so patient with me waiting to announce. So I'm excited to let the cat out of the bag, or the Bigfoot out of the woods.
So, and keep an eye on your podcast feed, because tomorrow something special might just pop up there. So stay tuned. All right, guys. Thanks again for celebrating Halloween and 2 years with Bigfoot Collectors Club. We love you guys. I'm McMills on all the stuff. Please check out the new season of Robot Chicken on Adult Swim. Bryce's news is coming tomorrow. Riley, do you have anything to plug?
New Spindrift album coming soon. Not that soon, but soon.
Okay, great.
You were
And
sharing
Grace,
some samples with us too.
Yeah,
Blowing
working on my
mind.
record. Look out for some Grace Mitchell DJ set.
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
And where can people find you on social media?
Yeah. My everything is at Grace Mitchell. 2 L's.
Fantastic. Oh, and guys, check out our TeePublic shop, and all of our shirts and merch are up over there. TeePublic.com, Bigfoot Collectors Club. Okay, guys, we are going to see you in 2 weeks. Until then, good night.
And go get regret.
Happy Halloween!
Night pleasure. Bigfoot Collectors Club is produced by Riley Bray. Our theme song is Come Alone by Sun Eaters, courtesy of Lotus Pool Records. Subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. To support the show, check out our Patreon feed, BCC, The Other Side, at patreon.com/Bigfoot Collectors Club, and unlock multiple bonus episodes every month.